The next case we're going to be talking about is the Tan family massacre. And like the McDonald's boy case, this is like the first video you see when you search Singapore True Crime Unsolved, and Mothership did a really good video explaining what happened in this case. So I'm going to keep this brief along with the McDonald's boy case that we're going to visit later on. The day was 7 January 1979, and Mr. and Mrs. Tan were out working in the early morning as school bus operators. On that fateful day, Mrs. Tan made her routine morning call to wake up her 4 children for school. However, they did not answer the call. Once Mr. and Mrs. Tan reached home, they found the door to be unlocked, and once they went in and into the bathroom of their house, they found their 4 children brutally murdered. And the injuries weren't your typical run-of-the-mill 1 step, 2 steps. No, they were really brutalized. For example, the eldest son had his right arm nearly severed. The second eldest son had his head nearly split open. The third eldest son had more than 20 open wounds on his eyes and cheeks. And the youngest daughter had deep slashes across her face. To add more nightmare fuel, the bodies of the 4 children were also stacked upon each other. Nothing except a bloody chopper was missing from the family's belongings, suggesting that this wasn't a case of a robbery that went wrong. There was also no sign of a forced entry, which could suggest that the children actually knew their murderer. One of the more promising leads that the police chose to follow was the account of a taxi driver. According to the taxi driver, he picked up a man near the murder site. The man was described to be in his late 20s. He walked with a lurch and had blood stains on the left side of his body, and not only that, he carried a knife. The Tan family would later link this man to be their Malaysian neighbor, and this Malaysian neighbor would actually go to the Tan's family's house on a regular basis to use their telephone, and the children addressed this Malaysian neighbor as a man called Uncle. So this Malaysian neighbor, who already had the trust of the children, could have easily entered the house no problem. Coupled this with the physical appearance that the taxi driver matched him up with, this might seem pretty guilty of him, right? However, this was not enough for the police, and they soon released this Malaysian neighbor due to the lack of evidence. A few weeks after the murders, the Tan family received this Chinese New Year greeting card that read, and I quote, "Now you can have no more offspring. Ha ha ha," and was signed "The Murderer" in Mandarin, and it also contained a picture of their children. So I think thanks to that photo, I think the Tan family knew what they were talking about. And you know the title of the video, the culprit was never found and the case remains unsolved. However, this case had a bit of a happy ending, as after this whole fiasco, Miss Tan was still able to conceive a child despite undergoing sterilization process. So I hope that they're doing fine and dandy.